the success of the band here has been somewhat phenomenal here in Japan. Because I don't know, there seems to be a segment, sort of a cult following, if you will.
Yeah.
Who's scooping up the CD right and left. Did this happen from the very beginning? When did you hear about this?
Well, I don't think we released Belly Button there. I think they released Spilt Milk there, and then it just started to happen. We just started to hear these rumblings of it kind of overinflating their expectations. I mean, they had a certain amount of expectations that it had just blown away, and it was very cool. I mean, it's always nice to hear stories like that, So I mean, I don't know really what to say. It was not a complete shock or anything, because I mean, we're pretty egotistical about what we do, but it's always a nice surprise,
Not exactly the greatest question in the world to open up with. It's like, you guys are popular here. Doesn't that surprise you?
Yeah.
Actually, what surprises me is that the album has not been more popular, because it seems to be impeccably made. It's kind of hard to find fault with virtually any track on it, and there are all sorts of little surprising little flourishes thrown in as well.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I can't get the damn album out of my mind usually. In fact, I think I've already worn out my CD. It's starting to click on me in certain places.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's a bad sign. No, the reason being is because
that's really why the record sales are up. It's because it's a faulty CD and they have to buy it twice.
No, I can't quite understand though how this thing came together so perfectly.
The way we make records is we try to do as much pre-production as possible. We sit up in my house, and Roger and I, and experiment and tweak things until we've got them. And then, because if you're paying $2,000 a day in a recording studio, and then you hire a $15,000 string section, that's not the time to figure out that the part that you wrote doesn't work. So we just try to do as much pre-production as possible, and we probably spent too much money, but yeah, I mean, it was really an effort. The way we make records is we're just blown away that somebody is allowing us to do this, that we actually don't have to pay the studio bill. I guess we do in the end, but so we always think that we're just going to wake up from this dream. So we keep making records like it's the last record we'll ever get to make in our life.
Right.
So that's just the way we approach things.
When you put this together, though, I mean, it was just Jellyfish had just come down to the two of you. It was like
right.
Yeah. So I mean, when say you were putting this material together. Did you think like the end was near, that there was sort of an impending?
Oh no, there was no feelings of that. I mean, because Roger and I really put together the first album as well. So Jason, the original guitarist, played on Belly Button. Christopher, Roger's brother, didn't play on Belly Button and had nothing to do with it. He joined the band after the album was finished. So things didn't change that much for Roger and I, because when Jason joined the band was already signed as just Roger and I. So after the exodus of the two original guys, or two of the original band members with us, again, it was just not that different, because we weren't approaching anything differently at all. Jason was in Los Angeles. We were up in San Francisco. Chris was, doing whatever he was doing. He was just kind of, fooling around, just doing whatever he does, fishing and all those kind of things. And Roger and I were holed up in my house, and we were already like 4 demos into, coming up with what we wanted Spilt Milk to be when people started leaving. So we were just kind of, this kind of sucks in terms of how it appears on the outside, but we weren't really that concerned musically.
Is this is Spilt Milk is it the solid collection of songs, or did you pare away a lot of other stuff? Is it like were there other tracks got thrown out in the production process?
No, not really. What we try to do, Roger and I write a tremendous amount of songs, and then we just start to songs just kind of come to the surface, and we'll finish them up, and we'll kind of put the effort into them, and if we put the effort into them enough, we're proud enough of them to say we got to go for it, and these songs fit together in some sort of way. Mm-hmm. And that's how we did both records. And there were other demos recorded, but they were not for Spilt Milk or Belly Button for that matter. Because we write a lot of songs. We wrote some songs for Ringo Starr that we ended up releasing as B-sides, the demos that we did for those. So that's, it's very fun to do demos for us, but, Spilt Milk, we knew what we wanted. In the case of, there's a song called He's My Best Friend on Spilt Milk that we originally intended to have on the album, but ran out of time and money, and it wasn't going to be included. And then at the last second, we said, the record really needs this kind of breath of humor and fresh air, so we recorded that in 2 days. Mm-hmm.
Breath of humor and fresh air, but virtually every other track is humorous and a breath of fresh air.
That's true.
It's just like one more little nugget there for the file. Give me an example of a song that sort of instantly wrote itself, and an example of a song that you really had to bust butt to complete.
Oh, good question. Let's see. Well, Sabrina, oddly enough, as many parts as there are in that song, mm-hmm. It was like falling off a log. It was so easy, we kept adding things, and everything seemed to work. We were getting songs together, and I had come across this. I was just listening to some old rehearsal tapes or some writing tapes that Roger and I were just sitting around writing one day, and I came across this song, and I'd completely forgotten about it. And I said, Roger, this song just has this wonderful childlike feel to it, and we should really work on it, because I really liked how it sounded. And we just knocked that thing out, and we just kept adding, even in the recording studio, even things that weren't proven, that we didn't demo up, that we hadn't included in the demo of the song. We just started adding, flutes and alto flutes and this and that, and it just worked. It was just so easy. I would say the song that I personally am most proud of, and was the biggest pain in the ass, was Brighter Day, because we had no demo of that song. Mm-hmm. And Too Much Too Little Too Late was the same way. We had no demos of both of those songs, because we wanted to leave a few songs that we could kind of create with Jack and Albie, and in the recording studio environment, and just see what we came up with together. But Brighter Day was originally, we had it as, there's a lot of nighttime themes on the album. The album starts with a lullaby, and there's a lot of kind of dreamy aspects to the record. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, Hush, or New Mistake, I Just Lie Awake with My New Mistake. Gluttonous Sympathy takes place at 4 a.m. Russian Hills, A Description of a Dream. There's all kinds of like nighttime imagery in the record, and we really wanted the last song in the album not only to encompass or to bring it in the new day, as if you had just listened to an evening of music, mm-hmm. Or a series of dreams, but we also wanted it to incorporate all the instruments that had preceded it in the previous song. Mm-hmm. So it was going to be a giant, cacophony of instruments and music. Mm-hmm. So we just started. We wrote this piece of music, and the way the melody line is, it's kind of like a roller coaster. It's really, it doesn't always follow the same melody over and over again. It's kind of like writing lyrics to an opera or something. Mm-hmm. It had to be really lyrical and make sense. Well, when you write a song, say with a guitar, and you're trying to say something, you can, you have the ability to go, okay, I won't need to fit this line in, so I'm gonna lengthen this section by a bar. Okay, or I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to write a flute line around this to bring it out more, or whatever. We started, Brighter Day was an instrumental piece of music, and I'm such a procrastinator. I hadn't even written the words yet. We were adding, okay, now the trumpet section is coming in, now the trombone section. We were adding strings and adding this and adding that. And this giant puzzle started to emerge with one little puzzle piece left, and that was the words to the song. Mm-hmm. And so I had to write the words in a really specific way, and that had to fit in all the little holes that had been created prior to the words. So, as opposed to the other way around and orchestrating things around the melody and the words. So it was kind of a backwards way of doing it, but it all kind of came together the night before I sang that song. I sat Roger down on the couch and I go, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is how the song goes. And I sang him the song and I go, then your voice comes in for 3 words, and then it goes, and it sounds like it's going through a Leslie, and it's only on the left side. And then when I'm kind of going on, and he's looking at me like the RCA Victor dog, like his head cocked to the side. And so it all came together, and it worked out really, really great. It's like a Jackson Pollock painting, There's just so many splashes of color on the thing, but it's in some really all-encompassing way. It's just, if you get distance on it, it's just really beautiful. I think it's a really beautiful song.
Mm-hmm. Well, the amazing thing is, like you say, it does sort of include everything that preceded it. I mean, everything but everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah, exactly.
Whose idea was it to throw in all this stuff? Because there's never really a moment, though, when anything seems superfluous or extraneous. It all has its little place, even if for just 1 or 2 seconds.
It's a natural part of Roger and I as arrangers, and because really what music is all about, it's about the manipulation of emotions, basically. I mean, when you get down to it, I mean, a good artist is trying to, get some emotion that he feels across to the listener. And I think we're lucky that Roger and I have enough knowledge and are music junkies enough to know how to do that. I mean, if Henry Mancini is scoring a soundtrack to a movie and a little bluebird flutters by, he knows that 2 piccolos, a flute, and a glockenspiel is going to create an image, And so if you're in a grunge band and you've got a guitar and a bass and drums, that's fine. You have a certain palette that you can work with to create whatever that sound is. But we don't like to we don't like to limit ourselves in that way. We like to be able to go, well, God, I mean, this should be a banjo through a distortion box, and be able to go, oh yeah, that sounds great, let's do it. And we're also really lucky to have Jack Joseph Twigg, who knows, he would know how to record that in the best way possible, and be able to somehow make it all work.
Who is he, and what's his background?
Jack Joseph Twigg is a co-producer with Al B. Galutin and myself and Roger. Jack is more of the sound guy. That's kind of his area of expertise. He started as an engineer. He was a Reef Martin's engineer for a long time. But he's just done tons of things. He's done things by himself as well. So I mean, he's just. We were actually introduced to him through Al B. Galutin. They were just good friends, and they really had wanted to work on some things together. And I just think he's absolutely the best at what he does. I think that there's a handful of really great engineers, and I think we're lucky to be able to be working with one of them.
You talked about the lyrics there, and indeed, that's one of the many endearing features of the music here. The stuff seems to come pretty naturally to you. Have you always been sort of a lyrics freak, or do you? Is this something new for you?
No, it is actually just something new to me. I mean, I even read the lyrics to the first album, and I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud of the lyrics on the first album, but there's something that happened. I don't know if I just became more of a literate person or more interested in that type of thing, because I felt like, okay, well, nobody else is knocking the door down to write the lyrics, so I better become better at it, And not that I felt like I was bad, I just wanted to get better at it, because I have my heroes too, I love people like Patty McAloon from Prefab Sprout, and Elvis Costello, or any, number of great lyricists, whether it's Cole Porter, or someone else, and I've always been kind of a pun fanatic, and I like to inject humor into even a serious or sad song, to be able to just kind of look at a subject matter from a few different angles. I think is always the best way to approach it, or how we approach things. Yeah, I would say. I mean, it wasn't like I decided that I was going to become some consummate lyricist or something like that. It was just something natural. Belly Button was made in 1989, and you're probably a better writer than you were in 1989. So we all grow.
Right. Well, what I found kind of stunning was the Glutton of Sympathy, because it's such an original idea.
Yeah. That was actually born out of real life. I mean, the house that we were recording all these demos in, I forget what happened, but I mean, it was like I was having a fight with my girlfriend or something, and it was a great place on a hill that was in this valley, and the ocean was on the other side of the hill, and it was just, I went out to the living room there, and we didn't have any drapes or anything, and I thought the TV was on because the room was so blue, but it was just it was just an unbelievably clear night, and all these stars were out, and I just started staring out the window, playing the guitar. And it was just such a kind of a moving experience that I just wanted to incorporate it into a song somehow.
And you say that Russian Hill is based on a dream?
Yeah, well, Russian Hill, it's not like a dream that I had. It is more a description or fantasy of a description of a dream. I dreamt about a Sunday drive, and then it just kind of goes on to describe the dream. When we were touring around for Belly Button, I didn't really have a place to live, so I got this studio apartment in this neighborhood in San Francisco called Russian Hill, which is a really nice neighborhood. It's really nice. All the best hotels are around there, and I was paying a lot of money for the studio apartment that I never got to see. I'd pay my rent, and I would go off for a month, to tour, and then I came back, and it lasted for 3 months. Then I realized I'm wasting a tremendous amount of money here. But it was just such an amazing place to walk around, and everybody was so nice, and the people were so beautiful, and everything was there was a nice park and everything. And I was used to living in, the not so great part of town. And I thought, God, what a tragedy that it's not that these people are any better or any more deserving to live in such a wonderful place. It's just happens to be the luck of the draw, or the cards that were dealt, and so I just started to. I wanted to celebrate the beauty of that neighborhood, but also, again, inject a little cynicism in it, and kind of inject that why can't everybody live in a place like this?
Oh, I see. I guess some people new to the record are going to say, I really like the Queen song in the beginning, or there's the Supertramp one in the middle, and
right. Yeah,
is that a response you get very much?
Oh yeah, I mean it drives us crazy because oh boy, I understand why people make Queen references, because Queen was a very vocal group, and we are a very vocal group, and when people hear vocals on top of guitars and drums, it's just appropriate. It's people go, oh, Queen, okay, great. Now I've got a pigeonhole to put them in, and that's it. And my response is, if you can name me one Queen song that incorporated any instrument other than those four musicians, bass, drums, guitar, piano, and those voices, I'll totally buy it. I'll say, yeah, we ripped them off, but we didn't.
Yeah.
These songs incorporate all kinds of orchestral elements.
Yeah.
And that's one piece of the puzzle. It's kind of like saying, hey, that man has blue eyes. Therefore he looks exactly like Paul Newman.
Right.
Which is not true.
Right. Right.
It's sure there's an element of a lot of vocal groups in what we do. We are big, we were big Beach Boys fans. Roger and I right now writing with, well, not right now, but we were writing with Brian Wilson for his next solo album.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always been big Beach Boys fans, or Bulgarian Women's Choir, or any number of vocal groups, the Carpenters, even, the Zombies, so it's, vocals are, the neat thing about vocals is that it's, everybody has a different voice. Everybody has, you have if you sang, you would have a completely different voice than the way I sound. And when four individuals sing, obviously the blend becomes something completely unique. It can't help but be unique, because every individual voice is unique. So, the Queen sound is based on four voices that are incredibly unique, and they create the Queen sound. We could never recreate the Queen sound. Yeah. Not even if we tried.
Well, obviously what happens is you get the sort of, Bohemian Rhapsody style vocals of Hush, and then in Joining the Fan Club you have the We Are the Champion kind of riff. And, those are two very identifiable elements.
Right,
and perhaps those two elements taint those first two tracks to the uninitiated. But certainly there's a lot more to Joining a Fan Club than just that one riff there. So. Right.
I mean, it becomes this game, or it has sometimes become a game of spot the influence, and I just think that it's kind of, the reviews for the most part have been really glowing reviews, and we've been really appreciative of them. But some of the reviewers, they just proceed to give it. There was a really positive review that I read, but the entire first paragraph, it was like, it was written like a recipe, and it says, take 2 parts this, 2 parts this, and 1 quart this, and wait a second, is that what this guy's supposed to be doing? Is he supposed to be giving us a laundry list of what makes this up? It's like he should be writing, labels for soup cans or something that, he can put all the chemicals that were in the soup. You forget that what you're supposed to be relating to people is art, and it's music, and you should be not being so clinical about it.
Well, does it really surprise you, though, Andy, that some low-rent hack is going to say, well, you boys are very clever, but I saw right through you. And let me tell you how I did it.
Yeah.
So, there's no...
Yeah, I get it.
There's no real surprise there.
Yeah.
The guy that put together the questions, which by the way are few, which is why I have to ad-lib here mostly, mentions XTC, because that's another band that has done extremely well in Japan, in spite of very limited success in their home country and even in the USA. In fact, they do better in America than they do in the UK, and I think they do better in Japan than they do in America.
Yeah.
And he likens you to them because they're also sort of a connoisseurs band, and people travel for miles to pick up their B-sides and stuff like that. Were you guys XTC fans at all?
I'll tell you, I was a big fan. I really liked the Skylarking album when it came out, but Roger was really a big fan, and I know that Tim, the bass player, is a fan of XTC. I have a lot of respect for those guys, but do I sit up late at night, listening to the album, smoking pot, listening to it in headphones? No, I don't. I don't really. Not that I can think that I do that with many bands, but I think Andy and Colin both write really beautiful songs. I think that they're very talented people, and we actually had the pleasure of meeting them once. It was before they didn't know who we were. We didn't even have a band yet, I don't think. But they're really nice people and really great, and I wish them all the success. I hope they just keep it going and stay together.
What do you listen late at night while you're smoking your pot and you have your headphones on?
Fortunately, I don't smoke a lot of pot, but it changes, drastically week to week. There's a band from San Francisco called American Music Club that just released their first major release. They've had other albums on independent record companies, but they share a rehearsal space with us. But I've been a fan of this band for so long.
Is that right?
Yeah, and when a band's been around for a long time, they release these records that you love, and then they get signed to the major, and they have a big-time producer, and then it sucks. Well, they did all those things, except they made, in my opinion, the best album that they ever made. And I just think I just think that they're fantastic. You know, the lead singer and the songwriter of the band, Mark Eitzel, completely has my number. You know, he just starts to sing, and he starts to sing these words, and the way he sings, and he can make me weep. He totally has got my number. I mean, somebody who can crack you up just by looking at you, you know. Mark's got me. I mean, every way. He just totally kills me. So, the American Music Club is definitely happening.
I see. I have a CD of theirs sitting in front of me that I've listened to a couple of times, and it was a little catchy, but I'm still waiting to latch on to it. It's called Engine, I guess?
Oh, yeah. I think the new one is called Rise, I think.
Rise.
Yeah.
We'll make a note of that there. The fellow, again, the guy that put together the questions here, I guess saw you guys in San Francisco with Shonen Knife.
Uh-huh.
He wants to know what exactly you've been doing since that time.
Oh, boy. Since then, we did a short kind of West Coast tour just around California, and then we kind of made our way to Texas, and then from Texas, we went off to, we went to Germany, and we went to Berlin and Germany and Sweden and Holland, and did a tour of the UK as well, all of which went really well. I was very surprised at how smoothly it went and how many people were showing up to the shows. And then we've got 2 days off, all of 2 days off, and then we began an American tour in New York, and have been heading west. And right now, where am I? Where am I? I'm in St. Louis. I'm in St. Louis, losing my mind. So we're just making our way west, and eventually we're going to end up over there.
You said you went to the UK, and I guess Ghost at #1 actually charted in the UK. Was that the only single that came out there?
So far, yeah.
And how did that do?
I think it did okay. I don't think it blew anybody away, but I didn't really expect it to. I think that it was it's meant to kind of tell people, oh, there's a new record out, and because I think they really think that New Mistake is going to be the one that really works in that marketplace, and that will be the next single to be released. And we've done another thing that happened with us with the Ghost single was we did this video, and it was the first video that we had ever done where we actually listened to the record company. They said, the problem with your guys' videos is this. And they rattled off some things. And we went, well, that said, all of our videos have been really successful, and MTV has played them all over all the time. Well, that said, we think that what's wrong is this. And so we said, okay, we're dumb musicians. Okay, we'll do it. So we chose this director who we kind of felt like we were being pressured to choose, and we made this really terrible video that we didn't like, and we didn't feel like it was a part of us at all. And a big part of the video was Roger riding this motorcycle with a sidecar, and I was in the sidecar. Okay, and then there was this other guy playing a rock star who drives this limousine into this rock. Okay, it was a giant money. Money was just being burnt on this thing. There was like helicopters involved. So, the whole time I'm thinking, Europe is never going to play this video. They just won't play the video because I knew from being there that they wouldn't show a motorcycle or people on a motorcycle without a helmet. I knew that this guy that was crashing into this wall wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And I kept bringing things like this up, and there was a scene where the guy was injecting a needle into his leg, and I was just thinking, I kept bringing it up, and everybody said, "Oh no, I'm sure they know what they're doing. They're the record company. They're the video company. They're whatever, And so, lo and behold, we finished this exorbitant amount of money we spent on this video, and lo and behold, Europe can't play the video. So after I picked myself up off the floor, and peeled my fingers off our manager's neck. We went in and cut some more additional footage of the band playing, which was just kind of a punt, you know. It was like too late, and it was like not happening, and we were all tired, and we all looked bad, and so it was kind of a big drag. But for New Mistake, which is the single that's coming out momentarily here in the States, and there as well, I guess. I'm not sure when it's coming out in the UK. We did a video in Sweden, and we got back to what we liked and the sensibilities that we liked, and we made what I think is our best video that we've made. I'm really proud of it. So it just injects more of our personalities and our humor and everything else. So.
Would Ghost have been your first choice for a single, or would New Mistake have been your first choice, or did you have any say in this?
We did have say in it, but at the time that decision had to be made, we had been working 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, in getting this record done. And when I walked into that meeting, I didn't know my name. You know, I didn't know. If you said, I want to put the groove in, I want to put the space in between Hush and Fan Club Out as the first thing, I would have said, I don't know, that's fine. So, I had no clue. So they said, well, we really think that this song should be it because it incorporates this, and it's got this catchy hook, and it incorporates a lot of the elements on the album. And I just went, okay, good brother, release it, whatever you think, you know. And in hindsight, I don't think it was the right one, but you know, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. Well, in hindsight, what would have been the right choice?
I think Fan Club. Yeah, I think Fan Club would have been really good for us in the States. I mean, that's the only marketplace I understand, or I pretend to understand anyway. Yeah, but I mean, in terms of these other marketplaces, I mean, it's even America for that matter. I mean, so many things get through that I would not in a million years think would get through, you know. So talking about radio is just, you know, you could be talking ancient Swahili to me. I don't get the concept at all. Yeah,
that's true. And it seems to me, though, and maybe out of line here, that maybe the record company is not exactly bending over backwards to promote this thing. Do you get that feeling at all?
No, I think that it is a big priority with the record, but I think with the record company, I think it. But I think, like in any record company, you know, bands get in line. You know, there's, you know, and I think sometimes it is. I get a little down about it, but I think, you know, I talk to the record company, and I have been convinced many times that they are determined to break this band, and they've been very supportive of us and putting us on the road and paying bills and things like that. So I've got to believe, you know, and our A&R guy is the president of the company. So that's got to count for something as well. So you know, but it's a big record company, and I have to be okay with the concept that, you know, Janet Jackson's costume maker probably has a higher priority than I do. But that's the way it goes, or that's the way love goes, I suppose. So,
well, tell me about the band live now. I mean, it's some of us are going to sit back here and think, is New Mistake really going to happen live without the chimes and the harp there?
Oh well, you will be hearing the chimes and the harp, but
you have them on a chip.
No, Roger. You know, he has some samples. We don't play samples like when you hear vocals. It will be us singing. We don't use vocal samples. We don't play to click tracks in the studio, so we certainly wouldn't play to them live. So, I mean, the band does play as a unit, but Roger has, you know, he's got a sampler that he'll play a harp sound and he'll play a chime sound, just like any keyboard player might play you know, like he plays a piano sound and a harpsichord sound and all kinds of different things. But he's a really great pianist, and he can cover all these parts. Sometimes it blows me away, because sometimes he's covering, like the end of Ghost, there's some timpani parts, and I play these wood blocks, he plays the timpani, and I play the snare drum, and he plays the bass drum. It's like this giant puzzle, and we have to be really locked in and be good musicians and really be aware of each other. And not to exclude Eric and Tim, the other guys in the band, because the band has become really tight. I mean, by the time you get over there, I mean, the band already sounds so musical. I mean, the band is just so tight. We'll change endings from night to night, but everybody's so clued in to me as kind of conductor of the band that we just pull it off. And
a lot of you guys do 2 or 3 covers?
Yeah, well, we do covers that, kind of amuse ourselves. We'll do them for, a week or something, and then we'll move on to something else. But, yeah, there are some staples, like we are big Badfinger fans. Mm-hmm. And, we like to play No Matter What, which is just this great song of theirs. Mm-hmm. We've also been playing, lately, we've been playing this song by this band called The Move, which was Roy Wood's band in the late 60s or early 70s. Called there's a song called I Can Hear the Grass Grow.
Yeah, sure, I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they just kind of change all the time.
How old are you guys?
27, and I think we're all 27 except for Eric, the guitar player, who's 26.
But I mean, I Can Hear the Grass Grow is like a song from 67 or something like that. I mean, you were all of 2 years old when it came out?
Yeah, when we were in Europe, I kept hearing about The Move, and people were saying, you gotta hear this band, Mm-hmm. And, when we were in England, I just happened to pick up this, compilation. And the depressing part is I got this compilation in Birmingham, England, which is where Roy Wood and The Move are from. Mm-hmm. And so I said, man, we got to learn this song. It's a great song. So we work it up at soundcheck, play it. So we're going to play it that night, and there's all these kids, and it's a totally packed out house, and it's great. So we go out for a last encore, and I said, we're going to play a song by some hometown boys. Okay, there's a smattering of applause. And I said, The Move. Absolute silence. You could hear a pin drop. I go, Roy Wood. Dead silence. Wizard. Nothing.
Oh.
So I'm just thinking, these kids probably, I don't know what their concept of music is, but this is like a hometown band, so I just went, I Can Hear the Grass Grow. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to just play the song.
I think you should have stuck to the Guns N' Roses Live or Let Die.
Yeah, Live or Let Die.
That would have gone over better. Yeah, you'd be surprised how cut off some of these people are from their roots. So,
yeah.
No, that sounds very typical of you guys to do something by The Move, though, because that is prototype pop, if there ever was an example of it.
Yeah.
Actually, Cheap Trick has done some stuff with Move material.
Yeah, they did like a California Man or something like that.
Yeah, and in the middle of that, in the bridge, they stuck in the intro to Brontosaurus.
Right, Brontosaurus.
It was sort of an inside joke for the Move fans out there. This guy says that apparently you do like you've added home demo versions and live versions to the B-sides of your singles. Mm-hmm. Do you try to go out of your way to make collector's items like this? Is this sort of a gift to fans?
Yeah, I mean, it is. When we did Belly Button, we didn't have a tremendous amount to offer. But as I said earlier, we write a lot of songs, and we've been given really nice opportunities to write for other people as well. So we've kind of become better at the whole demo process and everything. So it's kind of a cool thing because we're proud. We are proud of the demos. We'll be releasing demos from the first album and the second album as well. Especially songs that changed a little bit from the demo stages to the record, so at least they're hearing something unique that they haven't heard before. The song is a little bit rearranged or something.
How will you be releasing the demos? You said the first ones from the first and second album will be released. In what form?
I think what they're planning on doing is releasing a CD5, and in which every format, the CD and the vinyl and the cassette will each have different tidbits on them.
Uh-huh. Are you?
Can you hold on one second? Sorry, go ahead.
Are you an avid collector yourself?
Oh, of other people's?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm avid, but yeah, I'm definitely interested. I just actually this guy named David Leaf who wrote the cover notes on this new Beach Boys box set for Capitol, just joined the Jellyfish Army, which is our fan club, and had mentioned, and I just wrote him a letter back because he had said he had all these obscure demos and B-sides that he wanted to get together and show us. So, I mean, yeah, there's definitely some cool things I'd love to check out.
Like this guy asks here, what is the collector's item you're most proud of, it says?
Oh.
That you show off to all your friends and acquaintances.
Actually, it would be something that nobody knows, because it's not really a famous artist or anything, but there's this album called The In Sounds from Way Out. And this is like from the early 50s. This is before synthesizers, where people were making like space age effects by the weirdest means known to man. I mean, and then they made these tape loops. And this is before drum machines or anything. So you might have a guy just making a weird sound with his mouth, and then by the virtue of all these different tape loops, they created these drum patterns. And so on top of that, you have this really cheesy accordion music, and it's just the most bizarre thing ever created. You can't put this album on and not burst out laughing. I defy anyone.
How did you happen onto this?
I bought it for the cover because it just had this really wacky cover, and the In Sounds from Way Out, and it was just kind of funny. And I turned it over, and it had these two guys that looked like they were making a neutron bomb. On the back, they had like lab coats on, and you know, really thick Coke bottle bottom glasses, you know. And I thought, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. This is probably going to suck, but it was only 25 cents. And so I got it, and I absolutely prize this. Rogers offered me so much money for it. I refused to sell it.
How about like collector's items by artists we would know about?
Boy, I'm trying to think. That's a tough one. I don't know if I have an answer for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you said you wrote stuff for Ringo Starr, and I guess you've helped out Brian Wilson as well. Have you had any other requests for compositions?
Well, we wrote a couple songs for Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears. He's doing a solo album. We wrote a couple songs for his record. That's going to be coming out here real soon. Actually, when we were in the recording studio, Kim Basinger came by, and you know, she just won't stop bugging me. No, I'm just kidding. Kim Basinger came by and asked us to write a song for her record, like That Is Why, because she loved That Is Why off the first record. And I think it didn't even. Roger and I were just kind of sitting around her, just staring at her, and I think she's going, "What did she say? Did she say something about a song of ours? What?" And so, anyways, This happened at the same time that Cool World was coming out. So then we were like ready. Okay, Kim, let's get together and write this song. And she was off around the world gallivanting and promoting Cool World. So it didn't really materialize. But I mean, I'm sure that, you know, she still wants to get together. Kim, if you're out there, please, God. Yeah. So
I didn't even know she sang.
Yeah, apparently. Well, she, you know, when the girl from the B-52s left, apparently Kim took her place for like a few weeks.
Is that right?
Yeah, just like to fill in before they got somebody else. She's apparently has a really good voice.
Huh. I'll be damned. I think this is the last question here. The guy asked to list your 5 favorite or 10 favorite records.
Ooh, I'll take the 5. I don't know if I can name the 10. Okay. Let's see. In no order, no specific order here. Randy Newman's Sail Away. Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle. Beatles' White Album. That's a cheat because it just has 2 records. It has more to choose from. Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. Rachmaninoff, Vespers. Rachmaninoff, Vespers. It's all choral music. It's the most amazing. That's 5, actually. I've run out of choices already. Well, that's pretty good cross range. But I'm actually I could probably name 5 jazz ones, too. You know, like any Bill Evans album. I'm just a sucker for Bill Evans. Miles Davis Milestones flips me out. The first Lyle Lovett album, I think, is wonderful. Boy, I don't know. There's a lot of great stuff.
Are you a voracious listener? Now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always picking up stuff, you know, and sometimes we do these record store in-stores, you know, where we play acoustically, and we're like little kids when we do these things, because if somebody said, okay, I'm going to give you $20 or $25 to do this in-store, we would be, okay, fine, whatever. But if you say, I'll give you 3 CDs, you can choose 3 CDs, that's something we turn into like little 5-year-olds. We're like running up and down, you know, if we took the $25, we could buy 3 CDs. But we're like, it's like the shopping spree from hell. So we're like jumping up and down. Oh, I'm going to get this and I'm going to get this. So, yeah, just being out here on the road. I mean, I've got this giant case filled with CDs.
When you guys do in-store acoustic stuff, what sort of songs do you do?
We do a lot of the really heavy vocal stuff, because when people see us live, the vocals are so tight that people think that we're using samples. So we try to do a lot of the very heavy stuff acoustically, so they can see it and they can hear it right in their face. You know, they know, well, you know, these guys are actually singing. We do things like Fan Club and All Is Forgiven and God, That Is Why, New Mistake, Ghost, things like that.
The show, I guess, 2 or 3 shows have been added here to the original schedule?
Yeah, it's really exciting.
How about stateside? How has the turnout been for your live performances?
The turnout's been really good. I mean, I'm kind of a pessimist. I mean, I'm like surprised if anybody shows up, frankly. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm just happy, you know. So it's been really nice. I think, you know, because MTV, we haven't been getting played on MTV as much this time yet, because they really like the New Mistake video, and we have yet to release it as a single, and I think they're waiting for it to be released as a single to start playing it. But that has a tremendous amount of impact in America, as it does everywhere probably. But you know, when you're on TV and people can see it, but we have this like cult following, you know. I mean, where people just know, they've read so much into these songs, you know, and they know every word backwards and forwards, and you know, they just have just dissected this stuff. It's really incredible. And that's always nice.
Oh,
a little scary, but nice.
Hope nobody tracks you down.
Yeah. Andy, I love you.
It seems to me you would have a pretty strong following among musicians, and especially older musicians.
Yeah, that's the thing that I hate most of all, because what ends up happening is all the pretty girls go in front of everybody else, and all the nerd musicians end up in front of me. So
that could well happen. You know, you get these guys who are very disenchanted by recent hits, like, you know, hip hop stuff, and and then they hear a Jellyfish and they say, real music again.
Right.
So,
but the one that bothers me is the guys that go, this sounds so good. They got to be playing to a tape, and then they have their arms folded in front of them with their head cocked to the side. They're going, yeah, show me, you know. And then they're just waiting, and I'm like pulling my hair back, showing them that I don't have earplugs or I don't have headphones on or anything. You know, I'm like, well, what am I doing? I'm just playing my show, you know.
Are there any plans to get like major exposure, like to open up for somebody to get involved in some sort of a special type show? Major exposure live, I mean.
In Japan?
No, in the States or.
Oh, in the States. I'm not sure what's in the works. I mean, we've just been doing our own shows. We haven't really opened for anybody so far on the Spilt Milk thing. But I'm sure, you know, if like a Lenny Kravitz tour or something like that turned up and it made a lot of sense or whatever, that we'd probably do it. You know, something that made sense. We would never go play baseball stadiums with, you know, Engelbert Humperdinck, because he was playing in front of a lot of people, you know. So it would definitely have to be the right bill.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, you mentioned Lenny Kravitz, but I mean, there's a name that sort of does bring to mind that old cliche about, you know, being slavishly imitative.
Yeah.
What do you think about him and his approach to the music?
My problem, I think I preface this by saying, and you backed me into a wall.
Yeah.
It must be very nice here.
Yeah.
I think he's a really talented producer, and I really like the sounds of his records.
Uh-huh.
My problem with what he does, and what stops me from like really getting into him heavy, is I'm kind of a lyric guy, you know, and some of the lyrics fall a little short for me. They kind of lean a little too heavy on the hippy dippy stuff for me. But I think, you know, yeah, I mean, I do, however, think he's really talented, and I think he's obviously tapped some sort of a nerve in the public, and I think for us to do shows with him would be obviously beneficial. So I'm being very nice and saying, I think he's brilliant. How's that?
Sounds like you're appearing before
do you know if Lenny Kravitz reads in Japanese? Do you know? Could you help me out?
No, I think you're safe here. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's just between you and the Japanese public. Don't worry about it.
But it's like a Japanese cartoon of me like knifing Lenny Kravitz or anything underneath this quote or something.
No, what could happen though is like some Japanese interviewer will ask him.
Say to Lenny Kravitz.
Well, he'll ask Lenny Kravitz a question saying something about how jellyfish were slagging you off the other day as blah blah blah.
Right.
You do have to be careful. And
goodbye tour.
Yeah, I think you were most diplomatic.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, Andy, that pretty much wraps things up here.
Well, thanks a lot. That was really enjoyable.
Yeah, same here, and I've got my ticket for the show there, and I've joined my fan club, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys when you come out here.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll
Bye.
talk to you later then.